grand. Right.
Okay, well,
What's the stuff
game
you want to
time.
go through?
I want to talk to you about your usage of our system
Yep.
because you have left multiple tabs open, and I want to show you what I've done and make sure
Okay.
that I understand sort of where I'm going next and make sure I'm delivering the right thing to you as early as possible.
Okay. You want to go first, and then
Sure.
what I want to do is to show you where we're at, which is about 40% of the way through a pure seed bootstrap.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. Okay, so and also the banking data that I sent you is private,
Yeah, of course.
so we can't show that here.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to talk to you about it. If you look at it, you can see what a nightmare it is for like a human would find it frustrating. But did you have a look at it by chance?
I did have a look at it, and then I went, "Oh shit!" and then close it down.
Right, because you see why, right?
Back to the ball. It's like, oh my god.
You see why it's a bit of a nightmare because everyone is a bit different. Now, a human can do that very easily, but still it takes time.
And it's expensive and it's error prone.
Yeah. And then, like I said, like some of those customers are consistently wrong, but it doesn't matter because it gets figured out. Now, if we can demonstrate that thing working, they'll never leave us alone or never leave us because you can see like programming for that in conventional programming would be like
impossible, man.
It'd be ugly,
Absolutely
right?
impossible.
It'd be like
it would be all unique cases. And
I know.
So every next time,
right? And then you got to present
an
interface to the users to be able to manage that, and it's kind of shitty. But now that we have AI, it seems very, very doable.
Yeah. I agree. When I was looking through that, I looked at it and I went, "Oh, that's a complete."
It's a complete cluster, right?
Mess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem that tricky actually to generate a bot that has some level of authority to be fuzzy around matching. So long as it's offering up saying, well, here's my stack list of what I think this is. And therefore, when you're talking about this, then that's an exact match.
Yeah, so how I was planning to handle the data storage of that is that I'd break that sheet into rows, individual rows, and we'd ask the bot to process one row at a time. There'd be a natural language list of rules or exceptions that the humans have built up and curated over time, which include like blanket rules as well as special exceptions or consistent rules. Like this person, if you see a 13579, actually that's supposed to be a 13580, but the person always puts a number in wrong. Right. So all those rules, and so you get this like.
Well, that's interesting. You're going down a different route.
You get a text file and you get one row, and then you say, I want you to output the customer number and the amount. And then we go and look up that customer, and then I run the bot again with like, here's the customer, here's the previous X rows that we assigned to this customer. Does this row fit as the next row?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the way I was thinking, it's actually not so different. What I was thinking is a bunch of pairs. The first one is the actual in the file, and the second one is where it should be. And that we don't even need to say, well, their ID is slightly off, or the numbering is slightly off, or they spell their name differently each time because they can't type. We just say, right, here's what was inputted, here's what it should have been. Enough of those should give the bot enough reasoning in order to suggest the next one, and we give it a bit of leeway, saying, give a probability against the top three, and then it's like, yeah, that's the one it's meant to be.
sounds like multiple angles. None of them sound terribly
No,
hard, and
it doesn't, does it? Yeah.
no, and so I just wanted to cue that up as a, if you ever get stuck or bored or fidgety, that's definitely an outstanding problem. But the interesting, or the sorry, not the interesting thing, the thing I want to drive at with you is that I sense that the missing component in your toolbox is the map reduce function. And what that means is that you will be making bots that handle one row of something at a time, or like one customer record at a time. Up till this point, you've always had to deal with, all of the data all at once, and that's
Yep.
sort of the thing I want to get across to you is that the bots I need, that I think we need to make for all of our systems, process one piece of data at a time, because first of all, that seems to be the highest quality output, and second of all, that's how I need to feed it in. That's how I need to feed the data in anyway.
Okay. That's fine, so long as we've got a big enough example chunk saying here's what we mean by this should be actually this, as archetypical examples
Yep.
of the mapping.
Yep. I think it'll be just fine. Yeah. So so that's that. All right. Now number 2, I have.
It's kind of a cool challenge, actually.
It's a great challenge.
And it's I don't know.
The second thing.
Sorry, go on.
Second thing I want to talk to you about is I think that what happened is you opened a bunch of tabs and you left them open, and overnight I can tell that you did not actually have the memory saving feature of Chrome on, which you claim to have.
I have checked it.
And the reason why I can tell that is because of...
have I just run up a huge bill?
Sort of.
No.
No. It's great. It's actually really good, and I was just wanting to poke fun at you for it. It's great because so I can see when you've come in by the Europe West 2 is you, so you always hit that region. I always hit Australia Southeast 1. So whereas all the calculation happens in Virginia. So I put up some patches that deal with. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up. Actually, this is actually great for me because it shows sort of errors in my programming of handling things that are very reasonable to do. Like, you should be able to have an unlimited number of tabs open. They should be running all the time, and it shouldn't cost us jack squat. So, I have spent a few hours today fixing or compensating
in real time.
Yeah, this is real time.
Generating.
Yeah, this is you, man. This is all you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, I know. But I'm glad that you did that, because I feel like we're in that. This is all overnight. This is 24 hours, and this is you.
God.
Right,
Okay.
and this thing, 341,000 read units. We get 1.5 million a month for free. So you ate 20% of them overnight. But that's not you, though. That's my programming. My programming is to blame for not handling that. And so I'm grateful that we're at that that time in a system where you start turning it on and you get these, like, they're not stupid errors, but they're like reality. You know, like, and the things that need attention, but the things that in the theoretical world you're like, oh, really? So yeah, you're 13,000 requests an hour basically, because I didn't program things right. So that's one of the things that I've been dealing with.
Okay, that's quite funny.
Okay, and I also, because normally I was the only user, when I blow away the database and restart it, it was no problem. But you
Mm-hmm.
had like a bunch of tabs and they were all like eager to get going. And so I'd blow the database away and then someone would connect and do something before I could finish. And I was like, oh, well, now I need to. Now I need to handle doing a deployment with it. So you've generated a lot of work for me over the last day. It's been good work. It's all about reliability. And so my strategy, as I described, is reliability first and then features and stuff later. So anytime I see a reliability issue, I get on that immediately and then
Yep.
I move on and carry on. So that's why I stall a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, no worries.
Right. So I have a feature for you, and that feature should be someone you remember. This feature is oh dear. Once it loads, hang on, I've blown away the database and stuff several times. Huh, things are not going well today. Anyway, let's don't know what the fuck's happening there. It's probably all your requests. Choking the system down. This was working literally moments ago. I haven't fixed it to the level that I feel comfortable with, so I don't really know what's Here we go. Okay. So, what the fuck is happening here? See, because these were the errors that came from you, from all your stuff, and so yeah, until you refresh those tabs, the later version of the client side software won't be available. But anyway, this should seem familiar to you. This is HAL v2, v0.2.
Right. Yep. Yep.
So that's that. Yeah. So anyway, HAL v2 is right there, and that's I thought you'd be more impressed than you really are. That's that's fine. That's fine.
I was impressed yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed.
Be
2 days in a
impressed
row.
again. Oh,
How
there's
about
nothing worse than being asked to be impressed twice about the same thing,
Yeah.
right? You're like,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, here's your must, should, could, must not thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So the other thing is I changed the help format, and so the help format is now. I'll just show it to you raw. Is that, and so this is, it's all markdown. And then up the top, you've got this front matter section, which is where you can set up things like files and all that. So, and you can set the model. There's I should honestly give you something that helps with what those parameters can be. I didn't at the moment, sorry, but yeah. So you can, in that front section there, you can set the model, you can set the runner, you can set all kinds of things. So, so the help format has been changed, is what the point of that feature release is. That's it. Sorry, that seemed cooler when I was working on it because it took ages. But
don't worry, man. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And so yeah. So now I think I need to make writing to files and all that. The other thing I wanted to tracking the Git branches is a bit of a nightmare, but if you saw that link that I sent you.
I did, and actually, you sent that over just at the moment where I'd fucked up, and realised how useful this would be, because I asked, I had a number of tabs open as I usually do, and I put in the wrong prompt, or the right prompt to the wrong bot, and I was like, shit. Okay, so what I want to do, and I
You
never
want to roll
noticed for a
back,
while,
right?
and I wanted to go back, and it's like, can we go back here and then come back into?
Yeah, that's what you want, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was looking around, though, the trouble is being able to display these graphs. So here's a like here's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one's a doozy. So showing how with these sort of nice looking boxes and stuff like that with markdown formatting is not easily possible with the full-blown Git graph thing. And so what I thought I would do is maybe use a tree view, sort of like this, so that you can kind of navigate it like it's a folder, but really each one's a commit. And then because I can't really, first of all, presenting this up the side can get super gnarly. So I was thinking that I would present the Git graph as a individual tool that you can use in the state board to get really precise, full powered ability to do, insert here, fork there, blah, blah, blah. But then what I show you inside the app, I don't think it should be complicated by, by that, right? Like, because the users that are in like the CRM, and then you show them this sort of labyrinth of things, and they're like, "What the actual fluff is going on?" So that's what I was thinking. What do you reckon?
It's an interesting one because right. So really, we're limited by the number of items that the human can remember, right? And maybe it can go back. So there's two kind of rollback types. It's like, shit, shouldn't have done that, which is usually rollback 1 or 2. And then there's I've gone down a rabbit hole. Can you remind me where in the rabbit hole I went wrong?
Right. But then there's also power user who is trying to test multiple scenarios.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
power user also wants to navigate through all of their staff actions for the day, like show me everyone, like what's everyone done, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's a part of me that actually wants to just keep this single threaded piece and just add a few little buttons like edit, so you can actually click on it here like you can in OpenAI, and just keep it super dumbed down, super simple. And then if you want the power, if you want to see it all, this tool will show up for you in the state board, and you can do things inside of that will, like, drop you into a new session in a...
Okay, all right. So say if this session was quite prolonged, what would be useful is go, shit, I made a mistake, and then go.
So you roll back.
Right-click on this button.
Right-click, Dave.
Undo. Yeah, undo everything after that. Let's go back to this state.
Right.
Which effectively is the same thing.
Right. And so ChatGPT gives you that, where they let you edit your prompt back there. And so you just go blah, 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 edit, and then you'd start writing away. When you hit enter, that's when now a new history is formed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to
Yeah.
clutter this. I want to present a simplified interface to the everyday user. They won't see this extra branch, but the power user will.
Yes, I agree. So as a normal user, generally speaking, it's like multiple levels of undo, right?
Right.
So I want to, if necessary, go right up to this very first prompt and go, right, undo everything after that.
Right.
And have to start from there
What I really want though is the back button. So you'd be chatting away, and then when you go back, it would roll you back one turn, one chat turn,
Yeah.
and
Is that
then
a
you could
difficult thing to do?
no.
Because that's not something I would generally think about. Because back button, I would expect, given how tabs usually work, to go back to, I don't know, Google. So
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, but you would want a button here that let you roll back to this session type of thing,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you think that that's a reasonable thing to give every user?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And then I'll make this power view will be a state board tool as opposed to an everyday. This is how it always looks tool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That works.
Because yeah, I looked around for how to do it, and it just got harder and harder when I thought about how many different combinations you could actually do. Like you could make some hideous things without too much effort, and then it's like when it got shown to you, it would look disgusting. Like I'll show you one. This thing, right? Like you're like, well, that's not really,
Map, is it?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh, hello.
hey, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like an underground map.
Right.
That's disgusting.
Right. And now it might
How
be.
do you know what one to choose? Right.
I know, right? And it's not clear. I don't think any everyday user should be presented with that. And to be honest, when you want to analyze what's really happening in the chat, you don't really need to. You only really need to see the current chat. You don't need to see all the chats. And so that's why I think making it its own separate tool is warranted. Much as I would like to have it here, I can't think of a nice way to display it that isn't just like goddamn debilitating to the human.
I think that's okay because really what you want to do, and even going back to one of those icons and saying undo, being able to say, can you just forget the last 5 things I said now?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Which leads me to another principle that I'm planning to implement is that if no matter, let's say you wanted this button, right, where you go right click, I want to, roll back to here. What I'm going to do, I think, is make that be a command. So like all the user interface buttons actually just make a new prompt line and hit enter, and then HAL does it, which means that all the features available in the UI are available by natural language if you just sort of remember what they sounded like roughly. So that right, so I don't know if that necessarily relates to something as meta as rewriting a prompt that's already happened, but I'll give it a go and I'll see, because the exact example that I was thinking of using it for was I wanted to put somewhere on the screen a little inbox icon that represented that you had messages that were due for your attention, like you're the duty manager and a bunch of people have asked for things that need your approval. And then and then when you hit the inbox button, it would make a prompt down here that just said, show me my recent messages. And that would be, and then it would hit enter on it for you. And then that's what the inbox button does, so that you could have just used the natural language to pull it up.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, and that actually speaks to one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. Is you get up at the start of the day, and you can be as sloppy as you want, right?
Right.
How? Tell me everything I should give a shit about today.
Right.
You
Plan
get
my
something.
day, basically, right?
Yeah,
Plan.
yeah. So yeah, I like that.
Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. So I'll keep going with that. That was all I had, man. I got 15 minutes left. If you'd like to go through your stuff.
Yeah. Let's get it up. So,
But yeah, it feels good to be able to deliver you features finally. Like I feel like
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of stuff that is directly related to what you want.
yeah, and I'm really fucking excited about it. Okay, so right, what I did is I went through a couple of iterations of a non-starter for this one, but this is where I've got to. So I've created a thing called a synthbot. Actually, just this morning,
Oh, that's cool.
I've,
I was gonna
I'm
call it a
halfway.
synth. That's a great. I was like walking around this morning. I was like, it should be called a synth, and yeah, like that's cool.
Yeah. So I had two separate ones. So it's basically very small prompts. Give it a bit of orientation and give some scenarios and saying, crack on. I did two of those, and this was all generated by HAL. And the prompt to HAL was there's a thing called a CRM. It's for a trucking app, and there's a thing called a customer service, duty manager, driver, and give me some scenarios about what each of those would actually ask reasonably within that. So went around a couple of cycles in that one. The first couple of cycles were pretty poor because of my prompting, but what I ended up on is this, which is quite good.
Are these all generated?
Yes, yeah. I haven't changed any of this.
You
I've
generated
read
it how, in ChatGPT or using HAL?
using HAL. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So what I've got here is right. You're here to generate example interactions between a customer service duty manager. So what I want is a conversation. Saying, okay, so for a customer agent, this is the sort of thing that customer agent would do. It's the sort of thing the customer would do. Here's some the changing of format here is just because I'm just cutting and pasting from HAL sessions. And it's like, okay, and this is the summary of intent. You recognize that from HAL. Now, just before we came on, I was getting some quite good results from this. So this is HAL. Now, this HAL, let's go back. This HAL has this prompt, which is, you're here to help me build a CRM. I'll give you interactions. Every time there's an interaction, you have to check the existing schema, add fields as necessary to log the data, and then double check that schema is coherent. And here is, just I try to take it as a vanilla version of the previous schema as possible, as an example. So now where is it? A second. Yes. So this is the general purpose customer. So what I've been doing is very, very lightweight. I've just been saying, again, if I actually say it right, and it generates an interaction. So it's escalated to duty manager.
Right.
There, come down and say, right, okay, and then I just cut and paste that into HAL, and then I say, boom, okay. So update the schema based on that.
Hmm.
And here we go. Here's a new schema.
Well, that's the beginnings of it, right? That's the loop.
It's really, really fast. All I need to do, once the bots are set up, all I'm saying is, ask me another question. I think, boom. And it has a conversation between itself.
Right. So we could really be firing that up in parallel on Artifact so that there's like 100 of these just going bleh.
Right. And then there's some really cool stuff because
release point seems to be, it feels like there'll be a point of stability where it's not figuring out that it should change anymore, and then we're like, okay, well, if you can't,
right, it's convergence, right?
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, that's release version 1. So until we get some genuine feedback from people about what's different, this is there for every set of user synthetic constraints, there is a stable system that can be constructed that will meet all of those constraints. And so that's the release versioning, right? Like, don't release it if it's got known problems, because, we need to work through those.
Yeah, exactly. And the interesting thing is there's a prompt here I'm just trying to recreate. Now, I've been hitting this, so I don't know whether it'll come back. Did you add any unique field names in that last run? And so this is when you know that actually you're not adding to the schema anymore.
Yeah, right. Stability. It's converged.
There you go. Right. So it said, yes, I have changed service frequency. I was like, okay.
Right. And there might be like things like bistability, where it'll sort of like flop between two stable states, but that's fine too. Yeah, this is okay. That's really good. So how are you feeling about the notion of a plain markdown customer record with a plain markdown template?
It's better.
It's better. Better than the JSON.
It's faster and easier to deal with.
And correctness?
Because
how is
remember that I'm putting in at the start of every bot the dictionary.
Right.
And so the previous problem when we were, oh God, this was a couple of weeks ago, you remember that it was hallucinating about exactly what each field was. And I had to put a description right next to it. Now, what I'm doing is putting the descriptions at the top saying, here's the dictionary, boom.
Right.
And it's the same
here's
for
the dictionary, here's the template.
Right. Yeah. And the benefit of that is I can ask the bot saying, are you using any, or do you feel you need to have used any terms that's not in the dictionary?
Right. So like
so everyone's on the same sheet of paper.
Right. And so while you're running the exerciser, it would be able to expand the dictionary out if there were things that were missing.
Yeah.
God, that's a solid way to build apps, man. That's a solid way to do it.
And if you look at here, I mean, this is entirely generated. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's spookily close to what we're having there. It's got a schedule. It's decided that it needs. Oh, the other thing is, I told it to be creative in its questions.
Yeah.
And then I told how to be non-creative in its schema.
Right. Yeah. So one's like
really
super cold and clinical, and the other one's is like a spastic, like a very wild machine just thrashing around.
Yeah. So let's see words. For example, I need to update my contact. Okay. So I could say something like super creative with your next response. So again, boom, and then you get what we've done. I have found out my recycling pickups have been missing some items. I also have some unique recycling items. Can you help me with that? Okay, and here's the account number. We know about account numbers. That would be then lodged as guidance for the service agents. Be creative with a question about pickup times and changing them.
Right. So we could even derive the type of questioning from the dictionary that we got from the people in the company, because we're like, we've parsed your email server, and this appears to be the topics, the things that are unique to you,
Yeah,
and now we can generate load based on those types of things.
exactly. But if you look at this, okay,
I
so
gotta, I gotta go,
all right.
buddy.
Just getting good. Right.
I got
Well,
3 minutes. I
so
mean, if you want.
right. I'm out from an hour and 18 from now.
Yeah, okay. I'll probably miss you
So
then. I'll just keep
yeah,
going with trying to make it so that Hal can write bots and run bots. I'm
yep,
still a little shaky on how we're going to glue all that together, but we'll just keep pushing it forwards, and I'll just add the easiest next feature I know of, and then we'll reconvene, and at some point real soon, it'll be something that you can get off of this platform thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But this approach in the last 90 seconds we've got, this approach is
Yeah.
pretty
Solid, eh?
to be honest.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
I would feel
Because
safe if we released a
all I'm doing,
system.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on. Yeah.
If we released a system that was basically assailed by an AI, then I would feel safe that we'd released a system that will perform well under all possible angles.
Yeah, but the interesting things, I can seed it with AIs, but I can also say, customer, I don't like you, right?
Yeah.
Because this bot is the one that's trying to like figure it out. Okay, so again, sorry, I didn't give an answer. But you can put anything in here, right?
Yeah.
And give it, an example narrative.
Yeah.
So you could sit down, get the 80% generated, and then you could sit down with the actual user, or the user could do it and saying, you remember that, lady that
Right.
came in
Right.
a month ago and said she didn't like the color of her bin. You
Right.
know?
And then that becomes the standard response.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Really,
Sounds like we're getting
really,
somewhere, buddy.
really solid. And also, isn't it? It would be nice if I can now take away this whole thing, because I do actually like this bot. So,
Yeah.
roll back.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty.
Okay. See you next time, man.
See you next time, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah.